Okay, today we're going to talk about how you can increase your prices without pissing off your customers. So I'm pretty active on Twitter, and not too long ago I had a gentleman, his Twitter name, or X name as they call it these days, was Texas.industrial, and he posted a question about how to increase prices. And so I weighed in on it, and I thought I'd share with you what I said, and then I wrote an article around it on my own newsletter. And I want to share with you some of the things to kind of take into account when you're thinking about increasing your prices and my own thoughts on what I did. So let's get to it. I'm going to be cheating as usual. Most of these videos these days are coming off of articles I've already written. And so I'm going to be looking at my notes off to the right and sharing this information with you because why not? Okay. So there's a couple of reasons that you would raise prices. So let's talk about reactive reasons for increasing prices. So sometimes you just have to increase your prices. It could be because the costs associated with developing your product or service are more expensive. Maybe you have team members that work for you. Because of inflation, you've had to increase their wages, and that means you're spending more on payroll, and therefore you may need to recoup some of those costs to deliver your services, so you increase your prices. Okay, that would be one reason. I've also noticed that people increase prices when new competitors come into the marketplace, or competitors that are already in the marketplace start to adjust their prices. That would be another reason you would do it. Typically, new competitors will drive prices down. So prices may be at this level. You have a new competitor come in and new entrants in order to gain market share will reduce prices, and that forces everybody to come down. But there are times when a new entrant into the marketplace will force pricing to go up. For example, they might create greater demand, and therefore everyone across the market can increase their prices. That could be an instance. There are also proactive reasons for increasing prices. So I talked about it earlier. Maybe you're raising your prices carefully because you want to test elasticity. So elasticity of pricing is sort of the amount that your customers will allow pricing to move on you. If you can increase your prices by 10%, but you only lose 1% of prospective buyers, then it could be worthwhile. This is the type of experimentation that some companies will do with pricing just to get valuable insights on that. Another reason you could reduce prices, and this is something I've done personally, is if you want to reduce demand. So for my services that take my time to do them, to provide them, you sell products, that doesn't take your time except to create the products. Once it's created, it's out there, it sells. When you offer services, you're swapping time for money. And when demand is too high, I will usually increase my prices to reduce demand. Maybe demand is so high that I can't get to every customer at once. And so I will increase my prices so that subsequent prospects may balk altogether, or they may wait a little bit to make their decision. This is one way in which I personally manage my workload, that type of thing. So making decisions about pricing increases, a couple of things that should go into your decision. First off, keep in mind demand. We talked about it. What is the demand for your product and service? If demand is very high, you should be able to get a premium. If it's very low, you will likely have to offer some concessions in pricing. If there's a lot of competitors, the same thing is true. If there's a lot of competitors, you'll probably have to reduce your pricing. If there's not many, you may be able to charge a premium. If competitors are out sort of testing different pricing models themselves, you may have to adjust to the things that they are doing. So the number of competitors really matters. In a saturated market, your options for customers, you may have to raise, raising prices could cause you a problem. Another way in which setting prices could change is your value proposition. So if your product offers better quality, better results, that type of thing, you should be able to charge more than your competitors. So you need to track those types of things. Another thing that can affect pricing is seasonality, so timing. So it could be, I'm trying to think of an example on the fly. I may botch this one. Near Halloween, you can probably charge more for a pumpkin than you can when it's not near Halloween or Thanksgiving, right? So if you're in late winter, early spring, you may not be able to charge as much for a gourd that can be used as decoration as you can when it's close to Halloween and Thanksgiving. So timing can really, really, really affect some things. Okay. I'm also going to share with you some approaches when you have to change prices. And some of these are things I've done myself, and some I have recommended to clients when I work with them. So first of all, I believe it's best to be transparent about pricing. Customers do not want to hear a woe is me mentality that my prices went up so much, so I have to pass it along to you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. That's part of being a business owner, is managing your costs as best you can. And so that's on you, not your customers. So I don't believe it's a good story to go out to the market and say, woe is us, our prices went up, so we have to charge you more. You see this with some restaurants or retail stores. You'll see a little piece of paper and it says, oh, our suppliers are charging us more, so we're going to charge you more. That's just a failure by the owner and the management to sort of manage those things. If you're going to have to change prices, I recommend calling your top customers. If you have a large customer base, you can't call all of them, but I definitely recommend calling your top customers and making them aware that you're going to have to make that change. Okay. Make them aware of what's coming, walk them through what that's going to look like, how you went about that decision. You may still lose some top customers, but if you have a good relationship and trust with your customers, a lot of them may tend to stick with you. Another thing you can do to get them to stick with you is provide some sort of incentive. So if your prices are going up, let's say it's November right now, your prices are going up in January, you could say to existing customers, okay, if you prepay for all of next year, let's say you have a software solution, prepay for all of next year, and we'll lock you in at today's rates, and it will go up the following year. Those are the types of incentives you can use to keep customers happy. That gets you a nice pre-funded amount of money and sort of locks things in. At a minimum, you should tell all your customers. So the advice that I gave Texas, what was it? Texas Industrial. Yep, Texas Industrial was, he wanted to know if he should mass mail all customers. And I said, it's not a bad idea, but it's all about the message that you use. I do think you should tell all customers about pricing changes. I don't think they should discover that 2 days before their renewal. I think you should be completely transparent about that. You should consider grandfathering, meaning locking in existing rates for existing customers and charging price increases to new customers. That could be a strategy that you leverage to keep existing customers happy. It really just depends on the impact of you. If your pricing is going up across the board and your margins are already tight, you may not be able to do that. And then lastly, something that you could do is you could take a look at what I call segment increases. Or segmenting increases. So some industries you can do pricing increases for a specific segment of customers. You could roll out pricing increases in phases. Maybe you could do it to one subset of customers and then get another subset of customers later. This is almost like the idea of experimentation with pricing. So you could roll out pricing increases to a certain customer group of customer base, see how they respond, and then decide if you're going to do that. One benefit to this is it could be they're okay with that increase. They could just, it could mean nothing. Maybe they see more value in what you're offering anyways, and this segment that you increase prices on, you see very little attrition, and so you know that you can offer it along the way. So there's a lot of people out there that just promote increasing prices. You should double your prices. You should triple your prices. You should do these things. These are usually online gurus who are recommending this. I don't recommend going into price increases with a light heart. I think you should think about it, study what your competitors are doing, study what the market allows, think about all these factors that I mentioned. But if you do it right, price increases can be a good thing for a lot of reasons. It can increase your margins. You can have more revenue, which means you can do more hiring, you can do more marketing, you can do all these things. So there are ways to increase your prices without pissing off your customers. You just have to be very deliberate about it and back it with science, not just winging it and deciding what you're going to do. Hope that helps. Hope you have a great day.